everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's the time of the month again. We're gonna go over everything that I read in July. I'm gonna give you a short summary. I'm gonna give you my little review of it, probably my star rating, and we're gonna rank them. We're gonna go from my least favorite to my favorite of the month, and then I'm gonna talk about what I'm reading in August, because it's already August, guys. It's already August. I read 6 books this month. 4 of them we got into a bit on my video in July of the 24-hour readathon. If you want to watch me crash out about the Unicorn Chronicles, you can go watch that. And we really leaned literary this month for some reason. I don't know why, and actually, honestly, I do kind of know why. Without any further ado, we're gonna get into the books. My least favorite book this month, number 6 at the bottom of the list, is one I'm really disappointed in. I was really excited for it. And that is Half His Age by Jenette McCurdy. And I am ashamed to say I gave this book 2.5 stars. I mean, like, I'm not ashamed of it. Like, my opinion is my opinion, you know? And just because I don't like a book doesn't mean, you know, any of you guys should not read that book just because of what I think. But still, you know, I really was excited to read it. I read her memoir and I really liked it. And I'm not a memoir person. The premise of this book is this 17-year-old girl named Waldo falls in love with her English teacher, and he's married, they have an affair, and that's pretty much it. I can offer a lot of criticisms of this book. I'm gonna start off with what I liked. I think that she has a really strong voice and a very distinctive style. That is not easy to achieve, and I do enjoy her style. I do like it. Another thing I liked is there were these scenes in which Waldo would online shop, and she would just compulsively buy makeup and clothes and beauty products, all under the assumption that she was trying to like reinvent herself and make a new version of herself. And I really liked that commentary on overconsumption and capitalism and how women especially are targeted by marketing through like insecurities and social norms to buy products that we don't need. It also kind of felt like she was a millennial making fun of Sephora girls to me. I want to believe that's not what was happening, but it did kind of have that vibe. And I don't want to go way too into the weeds with my criticisms of it. My biggest critique, I think, is that Waldo was just not believable as a character, especially as a 17-year-old girl. I mean, I already mentioned this, like, she did not feel genuinely Gen Z. She felt like a caricature of someone who was Gen Z, was way too introspective for a 17-year-old. You know, usually when you read books with kind of the literary fiction specifically with the level of, I was doing this for XYZ reasons, it's usually an adult narrator looking back on their teenage self. Meanwhile, she was in this moment criticizing and analyzing her own, you know, desire to be with her teacher in a way that just did not feel authentic. She also, and I had to read a few reviews to fully understand what this was, and I think it was intentional and it just wasn't handled well. Part of Waldo's character is that she's balancing her mother's people-pleasing, I need a man in my life and I'll do anything to keep him tendencies, with her father's just, I'm bored and I'm uninterested and I don't care tendencies. Like, those are kind of the distinct characters of both of her parents. And I think she was supposed to kind of teeter between them. But it didn't feel like that. It just felt like McCurdy wanted her to be a people pleaser, and yet all the scenes she just didn't feel that way, if that makes sense. And again, I found a review that was talking, like, it was praising the book and it was talking about that specifically. Perfectly makes sense if that's what she was trying to do, but it just did not work for me personally while I was reading it. One of the biggest critiques I've seen of it, which I'm gonna bring up because I do kind of agree, like, I get why people don't like this. A lot of people are saying it's vulgar. It is very sexually explicit. Like, the majority of the book is just her and the teacher having sex. I'm not even kidding. Or her having sex with a boy in her grade to get the teacher jealous. Like, there is a lot of sexual content in this book. It's very over the top. A lot of literary fiction, at least literary fiction I read, has sexually explicit content in it, or it's vulgar to prove a point. I don't know what point she was trying to make by being this over the top. It kind of just felt like it was for shock. I hope she keeps writing. I think that she is a good writer, and I think there are stories that she can write that I will enjoy. Let's put it that way. This was not my idea of a literary fiction book that I would want to read. I don't think parts of it were handled well, so I did not give it a very good rating. But I will continue to read stuff by her if she continues to write. So take that for what you will. So number 5 on the list is Carl's Doomsday Scenario by Matt Dinniman. This is the second Dungeon Crawler Carl book. I read the first one back in January, I think. It's been a while. I keep getting posts about it, so I wanted to continue reading it. If you don't know what it's about, it's basically if Dungeons & Dragons was real, Earth gets destroyed, the end of the world happens, and this guy and his ex-girlfriend's cat get put into this dungeon where they have to fight monsters and level up to survive. It's very fun. I enjoyed the first book. I enjoyed the second book. It's not quite like scratching that itch. You know, like there are sometimes when I'm reading it, I'm like, this is fun, but this is so ridiculous. So I'm not sure if I'm going to continue to read them. I'm not like as into it as I think I expected I would be. The best part of it is just the cat. I love the cat, but like kind of the rest of it, I'm like, okay, whatever. So yeah, I gave that 3 stars. I think that's the same I gave the beginning of the book. It is very consistent with the first book. So if you're interested in it, go ahead and read it. It is very fun, and the second book is just as good as the first one. Since it's a sequel, I don't want to say too much about it if you haven't read the first book, but yeah, I think that's all I want to say about that. Number 4 is Eileen by Ottessa Moshfegh. This is about a young woman who is, I think she's basically a secretary at a boys' juvie facility. She hates her life. She lives in a very small town. She's daydreaming about running away to New York, and the book is her last week in her small town before she leaves. There is a crime that she gets involved in that forces her to leave. I think that's as much as I can say without spoiling it. But the main character, Eileen, is incredibly dysfunctional, as Ottessa Moshfegh's protagonists always are. She's just awful, and her family is awful. She sort of befriends the educator, maybe the counselor, I forget what she is. It's been a few weeks since I read this. I don't know if prison abolitionist is the right word, but that is kind of what I mean. Like, she's like, the boys don't belong here and it's not helping them. But she has these ideas about vigilante justice, where she thinks she's the only one who can make things right. That also doesn't work. Like, that kind of creates a conflict between her and Eileen. I love Ottessa Moshfegh's writing style. You know, it's very just kind of everything's delivered with the same just dismissive and uninterested tone and style, even though she's describing just insane things happening. It got me. I was not expecting it to go to the place that it did. I had some suspicions, but they didn't fully unravel. So I enjoyed that. It's very dark, very interesting if you like dysfunctional protagonists. I give that 4 stars, I believe. So the next 2 are juvenile fantasy. I have range, guys. I do, I promise. So at number 3, we're doing the first Unicorn Chronicles book by Bruce Coville. This series was one of my favorites when I was in middle school. I think I read it 4 times between maybe when I was 8 to when I was 15 or so. I love it. It's so good, and even now reading it as an adult, I'm still just locked in. And I think I've read the first one the most. My first elementary school, I went to 2 different elementary schools. The first one only had the first book, and so sometimes when I would go to the library, but I either had too many finds to check something out, or I already had a book at home or something I just didn't have, and then I would pull out that book and I would just read it until library time was over. So I cannot, especially the first few chapters, I cannot tell you how many times I've read that book specifically. So it's a little bit more familiar. I kind of remember everything that happened. So it's lower on the list than the other book that I read. Yeah, still very good. It's 5 stars. The only reason it's not number 1 is because I knew I was going to love it, and I love being surprised by books. Yeah, if you don't know what that's about, basically it's like a Narnia situation. This girl named Kara jumps into another world where the unicorns have escaped from all the humans because the humans keep hunting them. And the entire series is kind of stopping the war between the hunters and the unicorns. And Kara is caught in between it because her mother is a friend of not her mother. Her grandmother is a friend of the unicorns, but her dad is a hunter. So she's like just trying to resolve all of this and going on quests and everything. Number 2, the second book is Song of the Wanderer. Also 5 stars. I'm not as familiar with it, and I don't kind of remember beat for beat what happens. That's why I ranked it up a little higher. It's also a little longer and a little bit more happens. I read both of those in the span of one day in the 24-hour readathon. It was very fun. I still haven't read the 3rd and 4th book because there are only 4 books. This is a hill I will die on. Anyway, I mean, same thing. Pretty much everything I said applies there. Yeah, it was very fun to reread that and be like, oh, I remember when this happens. Oh, I remember when this happens. Oh, that's right. I completely forgot about this part. 5 stars again. Very good. This technically, on my Fable at least, is listed as a book I finished in August. We're gonna include it in July because I only read the last 20 pages August 1st. So it counts as July because I read most of it in July. And you're not gonna contradict me, right? Good. Swing Time by Zadie Smith. This book is literary fiction. It is about a young woman who goes to a dance class when she's younger, and she befriends the only other brown girl in her class. They become very close friends. Her friend has the talent to go on and, you know, be incredibly successful as a dancer, and the main character is more interested in history and specific dancers' styles and how that has been passed down. So she doesn't end up becoming a dancer. She ends up working in media, essentially. They grow up, they have a huge falling out, and they stop talking to each other. And then the main character starts working for this pop star as her assistant, and the pop star decides to start a girls' school in, I think it's implied to be Gambia, but Western African country, very poor village. She doesn't really have a clear idea of the socioeconomic issues happening in that village. So the main character is just kind of stuck doing this project while also being aware that it's not pointless, but poorly thought out and more about the pop star's like reputation and virtue signaling than actually improving anyone's lives. I really like this book. Her mother is a very interesting character, and I think she did a really good job of kind of critiquing I want to say like the armchair anthropologist or armchair sociologist of, you have all these big thoughts about how the world should be and what's going on, but then at the ground level you're not really working to do that. And then the whole part with the pop stars starting the school, it's interesting the way that the globalization and the colonization conversations are handled, and how it's very clear that they're putting a Western ideal of education and success onto this non-Western country. At the end of the day, it's very much shallow and about Amy the pop star proving that she is a good person versus actually trying to help people. It tackles so much. There were a lot of things in this I'm sure I missed, and I think if I were to read it again I would just notice so much more, but it was very good. This was my first Zadie Smith book. I've heard good things about her. I mean, she's very well esteemed. I also have Autograph Man back here, so I really enjoyed that, and I'm excited to read more from her. Yeah, I gave that 4 stars. Those are my 6 books. Currently, I have started Wuthering Heights. I'm only like 30 pages in. I need to work on it. I need to just sit down and commit myself to reading it, because I do really like it. I just have such an appreciation for it that I read when I'm about to go to bed. I'm tired, I don't catch a lot of things. I know that I will not catch all the things that I love about this book if I read it when I'm tired. But I've also read it like 3 times. And then I need to really start making a dent in my nonfiction pile. I have way too many nonfiction books still on my TBR. I'm gonna start with this one, I think, unless I change my mind. It's only 270 pages. I can do that. I just have to commit to it. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you read this month. Let me know what you're reading in August. If you liked this video, you can leave a like and you can subscribe. I put out new videos every Wednesdays at 3, just doing stuff like this. Sometimes it's book content, sometimes it's crafting content, sometimes it's writing content. So there's always something new, there's always something, no matter what you're interested in. If you want to see more of me, I have a TikTok and I have a Fable. Those are linked in the description. That's all I got for you guys. I guess I'll see you next week for some more random content.